I never planned to focus on poster design, although illustration had interested me from the very beginning. Right from the start of my studies, poster design and illustration became my escape from corporate work, which I began immediately after graduating, at a time when I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do professionally. Together with my friends, we decided to participate in a poster fair. We went as a group of friends, each of us preparing a few pieces, and we exhibited completely experimental, unpublished works. Encouraged by the success, or what could be called a success, as I managed to sell 5 pieces, I gained a bit of momentum and decided to take this further and share it with a wider audience. Initially, I started sharing my work on social media. My audience gradually grew, more and more followers appeared, and I began to feel that it was all starting to make sense. Later, more events followed, poster fairs, where the main product I wanted to present to people was, in fact, posters. In this way, starting from simple illustrations, often created casually, and as a creative outlet from my corporate job, I began to immerse myself in poster design. I started translating the ideas in my head into poster form. Poster and Graphic Design Gallery was established 48 years ago as a response to the growing popularity of posters in Poland, which had become even more sought after in Western countries beyond its borders. The circumstances that led to this were tied to the so-called Polish School of Posters, a distinctive approach to advertising not only for cinema but also for theater, film, exhibitions, commercial purposes, safety campaigns, and political messaging. Essentially, it encompassed the full spectrum of what posters represented. Polish artists developed a completely unique graphic language, which Jan Lenica, in one of his articles, referred to as the Polish School of Posters. This term, initially used informally, eventually gained official recognition as the defining name for this phenomenon in poster art. The history of the Polish School of Posters is relatively long, and the phenomenon itself began in 1948, in the post-war period. Before the war, Polish posters were already well known and highly regarded. Among the pre-war artists, Tadeusz Trepkowski stood out as an iconic figure, continuing to create even after the war. However, the turning point came with a poster competition held in Vienna in 1948. Henryk Tomaszewski swept the awards, securing first, second, third, fourth, and fifth place for his film posters, a groundbreaking event, as no single artist had ever before claimed all the top prizes. This unprecedented success marked the beginning of what would become a revolution in poster art. From that moment, leading graphic designers and artists from around the world began traveling to Poland to meet the creators who had redefined the medium. Figures like Tomaszewski and Jan Lenica led this movement, joined by artists such as Franciszek Starowiejski, Waldemar Świeży, and Jan Młodożeniec. Without exaggeration, this was a revolutionary moment in the world of graphic design. Unlike the French or Russian revolutions, this was a creative upheaval that caught the world by surprise. Poland became the new epicenter of an atomic explosion in graphic design. At a time when marketing a new James Bond film might rely on showcasing the lead actor, his girl partner, and a gun in a poster, Polish designers rejected such conventions. Instead, they embraced abstraction, graphic symbols, and visual storytelling to convey the essence of a film in entirely new and revolutionary ways. The global success of this movement led Dessa, the only and state-owned art dealership in Poland at the time, to open the gallery of graphics and posters. Suddenly, posters were no longer just ephemeral advertisements displayed on fences. They became collectible art pieces that people wanted to purchase, collect, and display in their homes and collections. We used to buy these posters. A guy would come with a roll under his arm, a brush, and a bucket of glue. He was supposed to glue them on the walls, but he would come to us and sell us a part of what he was supposed to put up. That's how we built our collection. These posters didn't come from us going to an artist or the artist coming to us, although the truth is that they all visited us. Świeży, Młodożeniec, Starowiejski, they were our artists, the ones we worked with, who unfortunately are almost all gone now. These are people who spent several decades with us, but thanks to these guys who were supposed to stick the posters, we created a collection, and it still exists, and I suspect that in our gallery we have tens of thousands of posters, probably several thousand, though it's hard to say exactly, as it's impossible to count them all. Thousands of titles. Some of them are weaker, but there are posters that are sought after worldwide for collections. Truly for collections. When we talk about this, most people who don't have contact with art might have paintings hanging on their walls at home, but for the majority of them, a poster is just printed paper, and they might wonder what value it can have. It's worth as much as that piece of paper. These posters cost from 50 zloty to, without exaggeration, tens of thousands of zloty.
Henryk
Tomaszewski, absolutely number one. If we talk about the giants of Polish poster art and the Polish poster school, clearly Henryk Tomaszewski is number one worldwide, not just in Poland. His poster, which shocked everyone, was created in 1948. It was the poster for Citizen Kane. It won't be anything original to say that I've always been deeply impressed by the Polish poster school. The graphic forms, typography, lines, and illustrations of the Polish poster school have always stood out to me. While it was never my direct inspiration, I never aimed to draw inspiration from anyone in particular. I think the poster as a medium, combining both illustration and typography, naturally reflected my two biggest graphic interests. I believe the poster is an excellent form of expression, where you can convey a lot of meaning through just one word, or a simple combination of words and visuals. We are currently at the University of Warsaw Library, where my poster gallery has been located for the past 13 or 14 years. In my gallery, we feature works by most of the renowned poster artists, starting with Henryk Tomaszewski, Waldemar Świeży, Jan Młodożeniec, and Roman Cieśliewicz, all the way to contemporary graphic designers. Undoubtedly, the biggest star whose posters we have here in the gallery is Ms. Patrycja Longawa. She's been creating for about 8 to 10 years, and at this point, she is probably the most internationally recognized star of Polish poster art. Ola Jasionowska also created a very beautiful poster for this year's film festival in Gdynia, which earned her recognition. Typically, she designs posters related to Warsaw and the Vistula River. They're impossible to find or buy. You can only obtain them by participating in river cleanup events or various contests where her posters are offered as prizes. In my gallery, my absolute favorite posters are those by Mr. Jurek Czerniawski, a still active graphic artist who graduated from the Academy of Fine Arts in Wrocław. He captivated me back in the 1980s, and he was essentially the reason I started collecting posters. His work was the first sign that something about posters truly spoke to me, and I consider him the most interesting of the living graphic artists. He creates genuinely beautiful works. My collection includes 8,200 different posters, though for some, I have only 2 or 3 copies, while others I own up to 50 copies of. I've never counted the duplicates, but the total is probably around 15,000 posters. Of these, the 8,200 make up what I call my collection, the part I gather for myself, and there are about 2,200 of those. These are posters by the best Polish graphic artists, which I don't trade, but instead use for organizing exhibitions. What's most fascinating about Polish posters is how they stand out among posters from around the world. I can confidently say that there is almost no competition for the art of the Polish poster. Poland is definitely an interesting market for artistic posters, as numerous exhibitions are held here. Our posters win awards at international competitions, and Polish artists are frequently invited to participate in exhibitions or serve as jurors. The world holds Polish poster art and the Polish Poster School in very high regard. Usually, an idea just pops into my head, and I have a more or less defined vision of how it should look. Then I sketch it by hand, and depending on what the idea is meant to express, or what the poster should convey, I look for the right form digitally. For instance, if I need to replicate a specific element in detail, I'll use reference photos. But of course, I process everything to fit my style and line work. Most of the posters I create incorporate typography, so choosing the right typography to match the idea, the style, and what I want to convey is an essential part of the process. Since graphic design programs give me virtually unlimited possibilities for tweaking and adjusting, like changing colors, it's hard to decide when a poster feels finished. It's tricky to be certain that the typography I chose is the best possible option, that it fits perfectly, and there isn't a better one out there. I think digital tools provide a lot of freedom and save time, especially since I can print posters myself to test the colors and see how everything works, how it looks up close, and how it appears from a distance. But I also think that this freedom can sometimes lead you into a bit of a perfectionism black hole. I am essentially a poster enthusiast and collector. One day, I was approached in Krakow's main square by the director of DESA, who proposed opening a gallery under their auspices, and that's how it all started. Later, it was privatized, and now I've been operating on Stolarska Street as much as I can. I've been collecting posters nearly my whole life. Considering I'm 80 years old, I started over 70 years ago, back when I was just a child. During summer vacations, I would come across traveling cinemas in villages. They would visit twice a week, sometimes more. Posters were hung on trees, near churches, or fire stations, fluttering in the wind. I diligently collected them, often with help from my brother. After the holidays, we'd bring them home and store them in a sofa bed, and little by little, my collection grew. In Kraków, there were people whose job was to paste up posters all over the city, on poles, fences, and other surfaces. I would follow them around, begging for posters, and that's how it all began. Here, I wanted to showcase some posters from the Polish School of Posters era in the 1960s and 1970s. At that time, Polish posters were printed in the A1 format, which is slightly smaller than today's standard size. A1 is actually a German format, still used there for poster printing. These are works by some of the most important Polish artists, including Waldemar Świeży, Jakub Erol, and Jan Młodożeniec, who was undoubtedly a key figure in the Polish School of Posters. Every artist has their place in my collection. Here, for instance, I have posters by the best Polish artists associated with the Polish School of Posters, such as Erol, Świeży, Cieślewicz, and Lenica. These are iconic works by the finest Polish poster artists. Among them are also movie posters, like those featuring Zbigniew Cybulski, mostly from the 1960s and 1970s. On the other hand, I also collect works by younger, contemporary artists. For example, here are posters for a Gombrowicz exhibition created by Patrycja Longawa, and another by Król from Gdańsk, who designed a poster for the Dydo Gallery, and another for the gallery on Stolarska Street. At my request, he also created a new poster for Roman Polański's Pirates, because I wasn't happy with the original one. I'm working on completing a full set of posters for Polański's films.
Chciałbym skompletować plakaty do Polańskiego, do wszystkich jego filmów.
And I think I'm on the right track.
To są wszystko współcześni artyści. Tutaj mamy plakat z Gdańska.
These contemporary works also include posters by artists like Jacek Staniszewski from Gdańsk and Marek Maciejczyk from Warsaw, who produces many posters. My collection likely numbers tens of thousands, between 20,000 and 30,000, I would estimate. The gallery collections consist of duplicates or posters obtained through exchanges, purchases, or printing. The sheer volume is staggering. Posters have always been popular, whether as fashionable items or collectibles. I remember working one summer at an international student hotel, where groups from all over the world would come and hunt for posters. If they couldn't find any, they would even use razor blades to cut them from poles, adhesive and all, or peel off layered posters one by one to take them home. Polish posters gained such a reputation abroad that they were sold at various fairs and events in cities across France, Germany, and England, especially during theatre festivals. I think we have an absolutely outstanding representation when it comes to Polish posters and their brilliant creators. However, I personally regret that Polish posters are mostly confined to what I would call the artistic sphere. It's a pity that Polish cinema doesn't take advantage of the richness of Polish poster art and the amazing illustrators and creatives we have. There was a time when movie and theatre posters were based on illustrations. I fully understand that times have changed and that posters now need to be marketed with the faces of actors. However, I think it would be fantastic if Polish filmmakers returned to the tradition of illustrated posters, just like theatre posters and playbills used to be. Due to the poster boom over the decades, the need for organizing exhibitions arose. The first poster museum in the world was established in Poland, in Warsaw. The first poster biennale also originated in Poland, in Warsaw. This demonstrated the strength of Poland as a powerhouse in poster art. Even today, the successors and students of these brilliant graphic artists continue to teach and mentor new artists who spread out across the globe. Young people from all over the world come to Poland to study, so it's safe to say that what those artists created after the war is still alive, still important, and still serves as an example to the entire world of how a fantastic artist can uniquely and exceptionally showcase something that doesn't have to be kitschy or banal. It may seem simple, but creating such work is incredibly challenging. Contemporary Polish creators, even unconsciously, tend to draw inspiration from the Polish poster school. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially if we, as modern creators, subtly incorporate retro elements or vintage motifs into our work. I believe it's a tribute to the creators we can be truly proud of. The Polish Poster School is recognized worldwide, and I think it serves as a point of reference that, even when unconsciously replicated, will always be valuable in some way.